Okay, so here we are with question 3. A recipe that serves 8 people calls for 3 cups of flour. So we know that it's a recipe. In order to cook for 8 people, this recipe needs 3 cups of flour. So how much flour is needed if there are 14 people? So right here, we're gonna start off with our proportion. We know that a fraction has to be equal to a fraction. Technically, you could put cups on top, you could put people on the top. It doesn't matter. Just make sure that if it's cups here, it's cups there. If it's people there, make sure it's people next to it. So same categories are next to each other. However, since I do want to practice with dependent and independent variables, remember that we put dependent on top and we tend to put independent on the bottom, just to remind you for your science class and for the future in math classes. So 8 people, cups of flour. So basically, how many cups of flour we have, it depends on how many people are coming. So I'm gonna put people on the bottom. Because how much I'm cooking depends on how many people. So I'm gonna put cups on the top. But again, like I said, it doesn't matter. Just make sure that whatever's side by side is the same category. So we're gonna read our first sentence. Recipe calls for 8 people. 8 people needs 3 cups. How much flour is needed if there are 14 people? So realize that by filling everything out, I have an empty space, and that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for how much flour. So that's my unknown, and your unknown variable is always represented by X. It could be technically any variable you want. You could use F for flour. You could use A, B, whatever you want. But in math, we typically use an X just to simplify things. So we set up our proportion. 3 cups for 8 people is how many cups for 14 people. First step, done. Set up your proportion. Second step, cross multiply. So we have 3 times 14. That's going to give you 42, and that is equal to X times 8. Which gives us 8X. So we're going to solve that now. So remember, your first step is to set up your proportion. Second step is to cross multiply. Last step is to divide the number that is with your variable. So in this case, the 8. Same numbers cancel out. X is equal to 42 divided by 8. So we're going to do top in, bottom out, which means the top number goes inside, the bottom number goes outside. 8 goes into 42 5 times. That gives you 40. Put a decimal in you can bring down the 0. 8 goes into 20 about 2 times. That gives you 16. Could bring down another 0. That's 40, and that goes 5 times exactly. So that terminates. So X is equal to 5.25. What does that represent? That represents cups of flour. So our answer is, for 14 people, we're gonna need 5.25 cups of flour.